Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to draw a section in Revit. This is for a small house. This is a small ADU project. Of course, Norton pops up. Um, this is going to show you the technique that I use. So we've shown other methods in the past where for details, I'll just go all detail items and uh, drafting essentially two-dimensional. This method is going to be completely model-based, but we're also going to add some detail items on top of that. So we're going to show kind of a composite type of drawing. So this is the best way to do sections um, and so on. All right, so we have our floor plan. I'm just in level 1. My first floor plan, I'm going to go to View, Section, and I'm going to take a section through the most meaningful part of the drawing. You want to capture as much information as possible. So this could be going through this plumbing wall, cutting through the kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom here, for example. So I'm looking in that direction. This is the view box. So this is how far your section will look, right? It'll automatically grab the building for the most part. If you're seeing too much, sometimes you're grabbing information that you don't need. You're going to have to adjust this. Same with when you make elevations, you'll have to adjust how far the drawing itself is looking, and that's the extent here. Same with the sides. If you're grabbing too much information that you don't want to include, you can adjust that here. The other thing you can adjust just in your plan view, I don't like to have this line cutting through the drawing. It just adds one more line that we have to look at. So clicking on this lightning bolt in the middle will break it up, and then you can pull this off of your drawing, not moving the section at all, but keeping the drawing more clean so that these are off of the page. All right, so now to look at the view, we can either go down in our project browser. You'll see that there's a new tab that emerges if you haven't drawn these yet, and you'll see the section that we just drew is here. So I can either double click on that or double click on the section itself. So here we're seeing a section cutting through the ADU. Well, again, this is showing the section cutting in the other direction, so that we can click on the lightning bolt, open that up as well. Okay, so we don't have that line cutting through the drawing. So we have a couple levels. You guys may need to add specific levels to this. I added a level to my top of roof, which I can name here. I'm going to say all caps, top of roof. Yes. And this level 2, I'm going to make this my top of plates. So my double top plates will be here. We can draft this. So what we want to do is show some of what's happening inside this wall. For example, we would have double top plates at the top of this wall. We would have the rafter sitting on top of that with the bird's mouth cut. Here, what we're going to do is we're just going to import a detail item. So there will be some detailing that we're going to do over this. So we can go to Annotate, Component, Load Family, and this will be a detail item. So we go to Detail Item, and we're going to find wood. We want to go to Wood Framing, Nominal Cut Section, and we want to find a 2x6. We'll pull that in. So this we want to show, we want to essentially draw our double top plate. So we're going to show that here. So this is, we have thin lines turned off. If this drawing gets difficult to read, you can always toggle that at the top here, and it'll turn off the thickness of the line, so you'll be able to see everything more clearly. For example, if you just want to see the line work itself and get things to align. So I want to align these two. I can use the align command, AL. Click on that, click on that. Okay, so I also want to make sure these align with this. I'm going to have to move these up. So these are our double top plates. We want to make sure that this level is now aligned to our double top plates here. So I can use the AL command once again, and it brings the whole drawing down. Yeah, rather than doing that, I'm just going to hide the elevation, hide this level in this view. So I can right click, hide in view, elements. So just hid that element because I was using that level to model off of, not necessarily to design off of. Design wise, and in terms of these drawings that you want to produce, we want to create a level based on that double top plate. So I just hid that one that kind of came with the project. I'm going to go to view, and I'm going to go to architecture actually, and go to level. I'm going to make sure that this level is at the height of our double top plate, aligned with everything else, and pull that all the way across. Consistency is important. We're just going to rename this top of plates. So yes, we will have a floor plan that's called top of plates, just because I said yes to that question Revit asked. Do you want to name the view, the corresponding view? Yes. We're not going to use that as a plan drawing, but we'll reference that. So again, we're creating a section that is legible and can be built off of. So we want to just clean this up a little bit. We're going to want to add double top plates on this side as well. So I can, if you want to just copy it, CO for copy. If you want to draw the same thing again, CS is the shortcut. You can come over here and then snap it to that level. Snap it. CO for copy. Now we have double top plates. And so we also want to draw the sill plate at the bottom. So CO for copy, move that down. And do the same thing over here. Okay, so we've done some framing here. We also want to have the rim joist that runs along the perimeter and our fascia, so that can get drawn here. That can also, we can do another detail item. Also under detail items, we're going to go to wood. We're going to find wood framing, nominal cut lumber, and we'll do a 1x12. A little too large. Let's use a 1x10. that for now. All right, and we can play with the roof thickness and the design of that. If you click on your roof, you can go to edit type and modify that. We won't go too much into that today. If this earth hatch isn't appearing, it's because you don't have a topo surface drawn. Back when we were looking at site plans, we drew a topo surface. We're assuming a flat site, so you can just use all, zero elevation. You may have to actually, I did -1 so that the floor itself is 1 foot above the grade level per our drawing, per our detail for the foundation. Remember, we have the stem wall and crawl space, which I haven't drawn in this, but that would be a part of this as well. Some other things to include. So we don't want this perimeter line running across. We don't want this crop view to be visible. So we can uncheck where it says crop region visible, and now you don't see the perimeter of it. Okay, we have all of our levels. Let's pull these over. This should pull over with it. Okay, so like we mentioned in the lecture, we want to dimension this. So DI for short, that's an aligned dimension. And I'm going to strike all of these levels. And then I'm going to strike an overall dimension outside of that. Okay, so I have from level to level, and then I have an overall dimension outside of that. So another thing we're going to do is I want to tell the contractor and whoever's the authority having jurisdiction, I want to make sure that they know what the roof slope is. So we can go to annotate spot slope, and this will tell us what the slope is as an annotation. Now it defaults to arrow. We want a triangle, so we're going to come in and do that. So this is a 6-inch rise to a 12-inch run. So 6 to 12. Okay, this is kind of large. I think one thing to make sure, you can make sure you're working at quarter scale for this drawing. You may have room to make it larger on your sheet later on, but for now let's draw at that scale. We're going to do the same thing for this side as well. So I'm going to click and then tell it which side I want it to show up on. This we'll have to call out. This is a skylight that I'm showing, so we'll call that out. One more thing to do, we want to show insulation within the walls. So first check the width of the wall. We have an 8-inch wall. So assuming about at least an inch up to 2 inches of stucco on the exterior and at least 5/8 gypsum board on one side, that probably gets us about 2 inches there. So we'll use 6-inch insulation. And we want it to align to center, so I can just click the center of this and I'll draw this upwards like that. We can click on it, we can extend it up as needed. Then I can do the same thing on the other side. So insulation, align it to center, 6 inches, come down to the bottom. And just work your way up any wall that you're cutting through. Same thing with the roof, we want to fill that with insulation. and the floor. So we have our TJI floor joists. We're going to draw this at 11 inches. And again, I'm not showing my stem wall. You guys will already have that modeled, but that's not something I'm showing here. Okay, so we have that. The interior walls that we're cutting through, those will also, don't need to insulate that, but for now we'll just leave this as is. We have our slopes called out. We want to annotate each of these elements that we're seeing that a contractor may not recognize, so we want to show, we'll just use text callouts. So we can change the text size later. We can say skylight, and change the size down. We can talk about the roof buildup. So if we want to talk about the roof material, we can say asphalt shingle, asphalt shingle on building paper, building wrap, or on moisture barrier. Change the size. And we'll add a fascia board on the other side too. Add that. And so just go around calling everything out. We want to tag our doors and windows. So we can say tag by category. And if you mouse over, you'll see that Revit will already identify specific windows, doors. It's using a leader, which we don't need here, so we can uncheck leader. And we can tag all of that. So this is door number 7, window number 9. This is some casework here, some cabinets for one of the bedrooms. We can tag this as well. And once again, any geometry that you have, so in this case, this is a person from Enscape. We don't want to see that in this drawing, so we can right click, say hide in view, elements. If we want just that specific thing, we can say category and it'll take away all, Enscape items, people, cups that I was using. Revit furniture does show up drawn pretty well, so you can include it if it's not too messy. I'll leave that up to you, as to your call. Furniture, let's say we want to make these beds come in a little lighter. So one way we can do that is go under visibility graphics, right here under properties, edit. The shortcut to that is VV. And then we can go down, so what we want to do is override the way furniture is showing up. So we want furniture to show up as a light line. So we can go to lines for furniture. We'll override it. We can give it a pattern if we wanted to. We can change the weight so that it's really light, and then we can even set set it to grayscale, so that can tone it down even more. So we'll see what that looks like. Hit OK. And now everything that's in the furniture category is getting a light gray. So that may be a little too light. We can modify that. We'll go a little bit heavier on that. A little darker gray. You can hit apply to preview it. That looks okay. All right, so we have furniture. I'll have to adjust these beds. They're kind of sticking into the walls. Okay, that's the majority of what I wanted to show here. This we want to label as top of finish floor. And it's asking, do we want to change the corresponding views? I'm going to say no, just because I don't want my first floor plan to be called top of finished floor. Okay, so those are all called out. What's this? Wall tag. No, I didn't want to tag my wall. Okay, so this should be enough to get started. And as you place these drawings on a sheet, these will populate. So the section call out will populate in your floor plan and in your other drawings, like in your section. Another thing to do, so you have a foundation detail here that you want to call out. So you can go to View, Call Out, and what we're going to do is we're directing the viewer to turn to another page to find this detail. So before we add it, we want to say Reference Other View, and you're going to find that detail view that you drew, and you're going to click on it. So in my case, I haven't drawn it yet, so I'm just going to use this other section as a reference. But I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to come all the way down, so you're going to have a whole footing that you're going to include your foundation. And this should kind of stick out the corner. There's a number of places this could be. Keep that line straight. Not easy to do. And then, yeah, again, as you add that detail to a sheet, this will populate. So you'll be able to direct the reader to turn to this page, and it'll be this drawing number when that's called out. All right. I also want to show a ridge board here. So I'm going to go to Architecture, Annotate, Component, load a detail item. I'm going to load a ridge beam. So that will be under wood framing, nominal cut lumber and section, and I'm going to pull in, we'll do a 2x10. Okay, so that's going to sit right at the center of this. So I can see that. So that's a ridge board. This is a ridge beam. It would be a little bigger, and there would be a post in the back going down this wall. Another thing I want to do is these walls are going all the way to the roof. I want to stop them at a ceiling that I create here. So first we want to create a ceiling. So I'm going to go into my ceiling plans, level 1, and I'm going under architecture, click on ceiling, and you're going to sketch a ceiling from the interior of all of your walls. Now I'm going to do just a generic ceiling right now. This is just going to be a gypsum drywall ceiling. So we can go back to our section, the other section here. We want these walls to come down to that ceiling level. We're going to draw a ceiling joist as well, but for now we just want this to drop down. So we want this wall to come down to our top of plates. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to set the constraint to top of plates, and then I'm going to say detach top base, and then I have to click on the roof itself, and it detaches it from that roof. Back when we created it, it asked, do we want to attach it to the roof? We said yes, so that's why it was locking to that, even though our properties already had the top constraint set to the top of plates. So it's a two-step process here. So again, we click on the wall. Step one is make sure that the level is where we want it to go, and then we say detach top base, and then click on the roof that we're detaching it from. Now it drops it down to the correct height. Same with this wall that I have in the background. Correct level, detach top, and actually we want it to go to top of plates, so it snaps it down there. Okay, I have another wall in the background here that we have to do that to as well. Try that again. Top of plates, detach top. We have another wall here. Oh, I think that was my exterior wall. Don't want to do that. Okay, so we have the ceiling. We're going to create a ceiling joist that's going to run this span here. So I could just do a detail line, because really we're only showing it in this view. So I'm going to do a detail line, and to get it to be the correct height here, I'm just going to do, we'll say it's a 10-inch deep beam. We'll say 9 1/4. So that'll be the offset so that I can draw on this. We can have that extend all the way out, and it's going to stop at the angle of our roof. So we're going to have, in reality, this would come all the way over. Like this, and it would get notched. In reality, the rafter, this rafter would get notched with a bird's mouth cut, and this would actually get notched as well, because this would hit somewhere around here, and this would get an angle notched out of it to match the slope of the roof. For the sake of this drawing, we can just show this like that. This is an overall section. We would show a little more detail in the detailed drawing that we do. All right, so walls are stopping here, and we can add insulation to this above the ceiling. So in this scenario, our conditioned space is now just our spaces here. So we're going to delete the insulation up here, and we can show insulation above the ceiling. So there would be, we have our ceiling joist, and we're going to fit insulation into that. So I can go to annotate insulation, and we can say we'll do 10 inches. Too big. We'll say 9 inches. This will extend. We want to create a thermal envelope, so fully insulated. All right, and once again, I'm omitting the foundation, but we would have a stem wall here as well. All right,